I'm Richard Leous. I was born on April 25th, 1928, and I, I'm 91 now, and I still love football. And I started to play football at Bennett High School, where I played for 4 years, and then won a scholarship to the University of Notre Dame, and I got to Notre Dame, and it was just the wrong years, because all the veterans that played when I played at Notre Dame, or when I went to grammar school, 7th and 8th grade, they came back from their veterans and played. I went to tackle one guy one time, and I said, "Who was that?" He said, "That was Jim Mello." And I said, "Well, he played when I was in 7th grade." So that was a long time ago. But I ended up with 3 brain concussions and a fractured cheekbone, but I worked for Coach Frank Leahy as a statistician because I wanted to keep my scholarship naturally, so I got a full ride out of it. And excuse me.
Okay.
So then after I left that, I was drafted in the Korean War, and then once I got out of the service, I started coaching at Bennett High School. I helped my Bennett High School coach for about, maybe 2 years, 3 years. And then I left that, and my coach at Bennett, Fred Brown, suggested I go to officiating. And then I became an official back in 1954. And the gentlemen that were in charge then all knew me from playing at Bennett, because that was the games that they used to referee. So they brought me along, and I used to go to even the state meetings with them. They took me under their wings, and I became official through them. And that's how I got to be an official. So I've been involved with your group, all you young fellas, for 66 years. I'm 91, and I still love football as much as possible. And I used to go out and scout the young fellows, and I loved doing that, where I could help out and see from the stands where they should be standing and saying and so forth and so on. The current group of people that run your organization are wonderful. They're all wonderful. They're all dedicated, and you got to have a lot of fun doing that. And so that pretty much brings you up to date of how involved I've been with your organization.
What were the years that you played for Bennett?
I played in 1943, 44, 45, and 46.
And when you would play, your games were at All High Stadium, correct?
At All High Stadium.
How many people would come to see those games?
Oh, we would pack the place. There were 2 sides to All High Stadium at that time. And there used to be, at halftime, you could go from one side to the other side. And there, we used to pack it compared to what they do
So
now.
probably more than 10,000,
Oh,
correct?
yeah, we always got it. And I was all high in 1944 and 1945. So that's how I got involved with a scholarship to the University of Notre Dame.
What was your position? What did you play?
I was a quarterback. I passed, ran, and did call the plays and stuff. I sort of did a lot of it. Coach Leahy was a character. He'd always say, "Oh, lad, how are you?" Everybody was a lad. And so I got to know him pretty well. And the 4 years I was at school, we were undefeated. We never lost a game. But I only lasted 2 years because of my brain concussions and fractured cheekbone. So I didn't play after that, but I charted plays for Frank. We all wore face masks. I broke my nose a couple times, and we wore rib pads. But at Notre Dame, we didn't wear a face mask or no rib pads. You just played football with shoulder pads and that. So
Who was your biggest rival at Bennett?
McKinley back then,
Yeah.
they had the best team. They had some really good back in Bob McKinnon's day, and they were always tough. Sorry, but we were playing at a school, and before the game, I played with 3 Polish gentlemen who had real long names, and they were introducing the different gentlemen, and they said, "Our umpire is Ed Gustevich. Our head linesman is Henry Angielski, and my linesman was Ed Kubiak, and our referee tonight is Dick Leous." But they could pronounce all those other long Polish names, but they couldn't pronounce mine. North Tonawanda and Tonawanda game, I used to work that game a lot. And we had a streaker one time, and the same guy streaked while we were in the locker room, of course, going over our pregame or halftime talks, and they were waiting for him the second time he went over the fence, and the cops were waiting for him. But that was one of the funny things. But we always left the game together because you had some squirrely people out there that, would sort of want to make fun of you. So we had a lot of fun, and we always stuck together after the game. And we always stopped for a beer and had a lot of fun doing that.
What do you miss most about officiating?
The camaraderie with the other officials.
Yeah.
I miss that. We had so much fun together, even though we didn't take any baloney from the sideline. We would warn them once, and then if they said anything more, then we would give it to them, the 15.
When you first started officiating, what was the equipment you used? Because it was a little different then than it is today.
Yes, I always used a whistle on my thing, and I always did that. And I had a rubber band for the first, second, third, or fourth, and downs, and that was about it.
Did you use a timing gun?
And we always had a timer.
Yeah.
Always had a timer in our pocket.
Tell me about the last time you took the field. Do you remember your last game?
My last game was Tonawanda, North Tonawanda, and I was working with an old timer, and I felt terrible after the last game. But we had some great referees back then, and I just missed the camaraderie of it.
So after you retired, did you have thoughts of coming back?
No.
No, that was it.
That was it.
What was it like to work a varsity football game with 3 men?
It was tough because the guy that was the umpire, or the guy that was the linesman or the umpire, or he had to play, not the umpire, but the man out on the side. He has to cover downfield and on the line of scrimmage and then go downfield. And he had the sticks too. So it was very difficult with 3 men.
What advice would you give referees when they've made a mistake?
To own up to it and let everybody know that you made a mistake, and after the game you can't do much now. If you can correct it, you correct it during the game. If you can't, then you tell them, you tell the coaches that there was a mistake made and we're sorry it happened, but that's the way things go.
And that obviously for a younger official, that can shake your confidence. How do you mentally, you're in the middle of a game, you've had an inadvertent whistle or you've done something and you need to move on. What mentally did you do to get beyond that for the rest of the game?
I tried to forget it right away.
Yeah.
And that was tough sometimes.
So if you had to look back on your playing career and your officiating career, which are you more fond of?
Oh, I was fond of playing.
Yeah.
I love playing.
Yeah.
And that's why I got 3 brain concussions and broke my nose a couple times and stuff like that.
So if you wanted to close with any thought that you wanted to members, to other football players, what, you mentioned, that this game is for fun. Is there anything else you wanted to express that to our members, to future members? Tell me anything that's on your mind.
Just be nice to your other friends and don't be jealous of how many games somebody gets or where you go. We used to be sent all over, heck. We'd go down to Medina and we'd all work together, and right after the game we had some older men down in Medina that they would go after us, and we always got in our car and took off right after the game. But I think the big thing I would say, you've got to enjoy it and don't do it just for the money, because you can't do a sport and get your heart into it if you're just doing it for the money.